I have been making and keeping journals since I was in my 20s, and they have been a constant companion for me. The journal is not so much a way of diarizing one's life, but a portable studio, a place where you can hang out with your imagination, your intuition, your inspiration. Every journal is different. Making the journals that I keep, rather than say, using a purchased book, infinitely deepened the intimacy. You love the book and you serve this book. I've taught thousands of people to make a journal like this, literally thousands.
I was like 11, I think, the first time I got my real first journal lesson. With Paulus by your side, you have endless patience because he has endless patience with you.
So the means whereby of a journal workshop, we would spend most of the first day making paste papers that we would use on the covers of our journals. Just make a lot of them, and then you can collage them all together. So this is an example of a paste paper used on the cover. Paste paper is an amazing technique. I mean, it's a mixture of wheat flour and rice flour that you cook up, and then you put them in little cups and you add a little bit of acrylic paint or watercolor paint or even tempera paint, and you take brushes and you just put it on wet paper that you put down onto a slick surface. It's not unlike finger painting, only you can make tools. And you see here, this is taking the paste away with the end of a credit card. And you can use an afro comb or a roller. The thing is that I've never come across anyone that didn't enjoy doing it. It's very fast and spontaneous, and you make a lot of sheets that you get to choose from.
What I've come to understand, for me, and this is true in my teaching too, is it's the lush kinesthetic dance of the materials. This was a piece of paper I made a long time ago with Paulus, but this is just your fingers, And so even people who consider themselves artistically challenged are seduced by the materials, and then real beauty and poetry comes out of them.
The first day of the workshop is paste paper, and people really get excited. A small group, 20 people, will make 500, 700, 800 sheets of paper. And the next morning, when the papers have dried, I have the students make frames the size of the cover of the book and begin to look at all the paste papers they've made. And sometimes it just be something here that you like. And so people would collage. They'd take an area from here and put it there. So the morning was sort of spent beholding what they had done and what could come out of it. Some people would paper weave. Some people would collage. I like to sew a piece onto a piece. And then we would get bookboard and glue the covers onto the bookboard, a front and a back cover. We would fold paper and make the signatures in that second day. And we would make a template for the sewing of the book, and we would make holes in the signatures, in the cradles. And then the third day was the sewing. The sewing of a Coptic book is not really easy, but the whole process is to me like building a nest. That making a book is like building a nest. So I think that we learned how to make books from birds. When I started teaching the journal workshops, I would give as the first assignment to my students to find a way to be in the journal that's extremely pleasurable, something that you really want to do. Now, for some people that's making lists. Some people love that. Some of my students made lists of birds. Some of my students made lists of trees. Or I'd say bring the question into the journal, who else is here? You know, when you notice, oh, a mole, you write down a mole in your journal, just to acknowledge that there's a mole living right outside your front door. But for some people, they didn't know how to begin. I would suggest to people that they try doodling the day. When I opened the journal, I would start by doodling the day. And invariably, wouldn't think I had anything to say, but by the time I had doodled the day, something came. You know, here's Friday. Friday is one of my favorite days to write and doodle. The F is so graphic. I didn't have a whole lot to say that week, so I just doodled. But I did have a toasted almond butter cookie recipe. Singing up Sunday. That's all I had to say.
And Paulus had taught me this other thing, that you have this antenna that knows where you are going before your body knows where it's going. So if you have this journal space and you allow yourself to trust whatever is drawing your attention and put it into that journal, it gave me a way to magnetize a question, be alert to the answers, and have a place to store it.
Someone once asked me what love was, and I said, oh, to pay attention. Yes. So, and that's what I think art is, too. Art is being present to something.
Right in the middle of my 20s, where I was struggling to know and understand who I was going to be and what kind of contribution I was going to make in the world. And you gave me permission to explore and to be creative. And the journal was just one way. It was just one facet of that. It was one container. It was one place. But the journal was the kitchen table. We found a space for ourselves where we're whole for a moment. That's what I've experienced working in the journal, is feeling whole. And so I can draw on that then when things get a little bit more tenuous.
My feeling about the journal is that sensitive, progressive people are in danger of grief, of being atrophied by grief and fear and anxiety. So that the journal, I mean, I can literally say I would not have survived the life that I've been given without this faithful companion in which I do rejoice and in which I do suffer. Work on my suffering, sit at table with the suffering. So the journal has that kind of function. It's sitting at table with the questions we carry. The other morning I woke up thinking, oh, I should go get my journal. And then this voice said, it's so in you now. You don't even have to write in the journal. The consciousness, the journal-keeping consciousness is in your life.